The Orlando Magic get a great win against the Washington Wizards. Never thought I'd say that, right? The Magic moved to 33 and 38. Washington moves down to 15 and 54, which is good for them. The Orlando Magic now got a gigantic win, and there were a couple things about this game that were different from the last. They've been pretty much even over the last 7 or 8 games, so we're going to get into how this team was able to win this basketball game, what were the deciding factors, and we're going to take a look at the game on Monday against the Los Angeles Lakers as the Orlando Magic are off for this week. Guys, welcome into the channel. I'm your host, Previty. This is Magic Digest, your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content here on YouTube. Make sure that you guys join the 25% if you are not already subscribed. We're trying to build an Orlando Magic basketball community here on YouTube. And we are at 920 subscribers at the recording of this video. So it would mean a lot if you guys were to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the month or potentially sometime in April. Okay, let's take a look at the box score. So the biggest thing from this game was that the Orlando Magic out-rebounded the Wizards 55-41. So not something that we have seen over the last handful of games where the Magic have been getting dominated on the glass. Tonight, though, it was completely different. Jamahl Mosley's got to be happy about that. I believe he said stuff in the postgame about how he was just happy with this team's hustle and heart. There was some great performances, specifically from Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner played well, and they were scoring all around this team. Anthony Black had 13 points off of the bench. Tristan da Silva had 9 points. We will take those. We will take those. The rest of the bench obviously was unloaded at the very end of the game. Mac McClung even made an appearance. He had 5 minutes. A couple shots, wasn't able to hit them, but still nice to see him out there. Overall, great team win. And as you'll notice, an amazing percentage from the three-point line. 40.5 for the Orlando Magic. It's like Christmas Day, 17 of 42. Let's take a look at what the Wizards did. Alex Sarr, obviously the number 2 overall pick. He actually played pretty well. He had a double-double, 7 of 15 from the floor, 19 points, 10 boards. But there wasn't really a ton of scoring elsewhere for this Wizards team. This game was kind of over nearing the third quarter. The Orlando Magic went on a 13-0 run. This was kind of spearheaded by Wendell Carter Jr. and Franz Wagner, and they were just by the point that this hit, there was nothing that the Washington Wizards could do. It was 88-62 by this point earlier in the third quarter. Corey Joseph hit some threes as well during that time period, and like I mentioned, nothing that they could really do when it came to trying to get back into the game. The Wizards just don't have enough firepower, and that is really helpful for the Magic because they were able to build off of a lead that they already had going into halftime, and they didn't just allow the other team to get back in any sort of way. The turnover battle was even. I believe the Wizards committed a couple less turnovers than the Magic, but still, at the end of the day, it didn't matter because the Magic just strictly dominated on the rebounds. And it wasn't that they got a ton of offensive rebounds. Obviously, they got more because if you out-rebound somebody by that much, you're going to get more offensive rebounds. But they just were able to gather the misses from the Wizards, and that was really good stuff from the Magic. Paolo Banchero, as I mentioned, had 30 points in this game. He has been clearly the best player on this team for a minute now. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, he's been so consistently good night in and night out. He's due for maybe one dud every month, but it's starting to feel like those games are in the rearview mirror, at least for right now. He was 3 of 5 from 3, 11 of 22 from the field. Franz was also 50% from the floor. He had 8 rebounds. Wendell Carter Jr., as I mentioned before, he was one of the guys who really was able to step up. He had 16 and 12. So we're seeing he had 29 minutes, and we're thinking, okay, he's got to produce, right? If we don't see him in the lower 20s, then we're going to expect a little bit more. He was able to deliver tonight. He had 7 of 13 from the floor and also made a couple threes, which I thought was really, really helpful. KCP deserves a shout out in this as well. He went 3 of 5 from the three-point line. He had 11 points. All things were clicking. This Orlando Magic team is extremely tough to defeat when they are hitting their three-point shot. Okay, and then as I mentioned earlier, Anthony Black, he was 5 of 7. He got 26 minutes. He actually had more minutes than Corey Joseph in this game, but Corey Joseph drew the start again. And I think part of it was because this game was out of hand, so they let Anthony Black kind of run the offense later on in the game. But 13 points, 6 assists, we take that if it's Anthony Black. That was really great to see. He led the team in assists tonight. The team had 25 assists for the night, which is something that was really, really good for this Magic team. We've seen some nights where this team has like 15 or 14 total team assists by the end of the game. It was not that tonight. The offense was flowing. And look, I get it. It's the Washington Wizards, but we have to take advantage of these games. And we haven't this month taken advantage of those games. We played the Raptors a couple times. Weren't able to pull out wins against them, obviously, by a total of 3 points in those 2 games. We lost to the Raptors and then lost to the Bulls and just got smothered by the Rockets twice. Now, the Rockets are a good team, so I digress from my point a little bit there. But we took care of the Pelicans when we needed it, and we just took care of the Wizards. This team is not falling out of the play-in. I mean, well, they weren't really in any jeopardy to fall out of the play-in, but they're not really slipping from that 8 seed right now. They are 2.5 games ahead of Chicago, and even more games ahead of Miami. They're 3 games ahead of Miami. So I think they're going to stick at that 8th seed. They're going to go play Atlanta, and maybe we want Cleveland. Maybe we want Boston. I don't really even have a true formed opinion on it just yet. I think Cleveland would be my choice, but I'm not going to get into that today. Great team win. Probably going to play the Atlanta Hawks now in the play-in. It really seems to be solidified as this team is down the home stretch, and a really good shooting night is extremely positive to see for this Orlando Magic team. I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section down below, who do you guys want to play after this team wins potentially in the play-in and gets to the playoffs? Would you rather us maybe potentially not win against the Atlanta Hawks and then win the 8th seed, or you don't even care? We have to go through either way, and just let the chips fall where they may. There's a couple post-game sound bites that I also did want to mention. Magic center Wendell Carter Jr. Said this about Paolo Banchero and his confidence. He said it was at an all-time high. From the time we drafted him, we all knew Paolo was going to be one of those special guys in the league. He's been proving that a lot this year. Guys, if we cut out that middle of the year for him where he was coming back from his injury, this guy looks like a true franchise player, a number 1 go-to guy. And if we just could get some of the auxiliary shooting pieces around him, I think that could open up his game even more. Paolo Banchero also had a little bit to say after the game that he's, I'm just really confident in going out there trying to play the right way. That was in response to notching his third 30-plus point game in the past 5 games, and just how he's seeing the game, seeing the court, and how he's just under control at all times whenever he has the ball. I thought that those were some interesting sound bites. Just when we look at how he is playing, it's been so crucial, so important for this team. Let's take a look at the Lakers game coming up. Obviously, as I mentioned, Corey Joseph and Anthony Black were the guards in this matchup. So that means once again that Cole Anthony was a non-factor because he was hurt. He didn't play. He wasn't even listed. Will we see Jonathan Isaac and Bitadze get more minutes than 7 tonight? Potentially. They went young and they went small. They had Caleb Houston in there for 21 minutes tonight, and Jett Howard even got 9 minutes in this game. Jacked up a couple threes, only was able to knock down 1. We'll see if this team goes small against the Lakers. I'm very interested if this unlocks something with this team. I don't really know if I see it. I really like Bitadze and him out there, and Jonathan Isaac's defense, but seems to be working, at least against the Wizards, for whatever that's worth. Both those guys had 0 points, Bitadze and Isaac, tonight. So maybe it's not something that's sustainable if the rest of the team isn't playing extremely well, but we'll just have to wait and see who's healthy against the Lakers. They're obviously without LeBron James, and they're pretty hurt right now too, but definitely a win that we're going to want to get just to continue to separate ourselves from the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. But guys, as I mentioned, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Who would you rather have, the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Boston Celtics in the first round? Very interested in what you guys have to say, as always. But then I will see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.